Hey everybody, Zach here. I am at the Eternity in a Box office and I'm burning incense that is covering the screen a little bit. I just had a friend on Facebook ask about how to cut into a block of ceremonial cacao when it is at its maximum density, how to do that safely, and I figured I would just go ahead and make a video showing how I prepare it when I don't have a blender on hand. I also wanted to show you guys some cool stuff got going here. We just got this incense burner recently. We're going to be selling these pretty soon on the Eternity Box website. I think the burner, we're discussing that, but the little hot coal in there, I've got frankincense on there currently. A little mortar and pestle with dragon's blood incense. So I'm kind of just getting everything all ritualistically grounded and cool in here. It's really refreshing. The scent has an immediate effect on neurochemistry, so it's very meditative. And down here, I've got ceremonial cacao. So, show you guys. This is one that I've set aside for our employees to use for our own ceremonies. Very beautiful designs, just little swirly patterns that just form as the cacao is drying. It's a lot of fun. Go ahead and keep that in the picture. So this stuff varies in density. Sometimes it's really, really dense to where you can't break it. Sometimes you can break it. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get this one to snap. A little bit, took a lot of force. But sometimes they're even more dense, and that's why I was asked how you go about breaking it in a safe manner. And it's a good question, because it's so dense sometimes that you could actually kind of be injured doing it wrong. So what I do is I got a knife here, and I'm gonna stick the end of the knife into just one spot of it, hold it real sturdy, but keep your hands obviously far away from the blade, and just push in to just one spot. Then you'll see it will cause it to break into pieces. So making ceremonial cacao is a lot of fun when you have a blender on hand, because you can blend it up and make it super creamy and frothy and stuff, but you can also have a lot of fun doing it when you don't have that. So the technique when you don't have a blender, like we do not have one at the office currently, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these little chunks, take a small handful or so. I've got a jar here. I'm going to add them to the jar. Probably do a little bit more than that, so I'm going to scrape up all these guys. You could always get a scale. 1 ounce is a pretty strong psychoactive effect. 2 ounces is kind of entheogenic, profound meditative level. Anything above that, I would recommend getting to know the plant. Even getting to 2 ounces, I would recommend getting to know it pretty well, because you can get a headache if you do too much. So it really just depends on how your body is adapted to it. Go ahead and cut this again, pull another couple blocks off. See there? And it breaks off in all these really cool patterns. Ceremonial cacao is a lot of fun. I just heard earlier that today or yesterday was National Cacao Day. So I was like, all right, I'll make another video. I shared my other ceremonial cacao video earlier. That one was from a year ago. But I know a lot of people don't have Vitamixes and powerful blenders on hand, so it's worthwhile to see how to do this without one. So go ahead and add more of this in here. That seems like a pretty decent amount to me. Drop some more of this dragon's blood on here to make it all mystical and cool and aesthetically pleasing to your eyes. So I've got some hot water in the other room. I'll be back in like 5 seconds. It's not boiling. I boiled it and then I let it cool down. The ceremonial cacao is roasted, so it's not completely raw, but I'm very adamant about maintaining the full vitamin and mineral content of raw foods. So I've got a bunch of other additives, which I'm going to go over in just a minute, right here. And this, I'm going to let the water cool before adding those, because a lot of these are raw foods and we don't want them to be damaged. So I'll be back in about 10 seconds, and you guys can check out this sweet view of apothecary Eternity in a Box herbs. I'll be right back. All right, so I've filled it up with water. I've got about that much in there, and pretty obvious and self-explanatory. What we're going to do is cap this jar up and shake it up really good. Be careful if your water is hot, because this glass is already getting really hot. So I'm going to shake it real good, and that's going to cause the cacao to start breaking down, and then just let it sit for a little bit and let the heat just work at breaking it down more, and then we're going to shake it up more again periodically. And in the meantime, I will, actually let me grab a piece of copal. That's my favorite resin right now to burn. Very cool looking stuff. Little white resin. It is a tree sap. And the copal is profoundly refreshing. I go to sweat lodges and copal is burned in the sweat lodges, so it's got this really intense association for me. It connects me to times of healing and spiritual growth, so I really appreciate that one. So what I'm going to do, when this water cools down a little bit more, I'm going to add all these other additives to it. What I've got here, it's all Eternity in a Box stuff. I've got chaga mushroom powder, which is the most antioxidant-rich food on the earth. So just a little bit of chaga powder, dissolve in there really good. This is a really easy and tasty way to get chaga into your diet, to really increase the antioxidant content in your diet. I've got Chlorella Algae. Too much algae and your cacao is going to taste like algae. It's going to taste fishy like the ocean. But just a little bit, and it's actually doesn't influence the flavor too much, and it's also a really great way to get algae in the diet. I'm going to add sun-dried ghost pepper powder, which the capsaicin and just I think the other compounds in the pepper is going to help the body to more readily absorb the theobromine and the compounds in the cacao. So the pepper actually works synergistically with the cacao to make the active compounds more readily absorbable and active in the mind. I've got Maca powder in here. Let me see if I can get at an angle without, yeah, mix them all together. Sorry, the angle's kind of weird. I've got the red maca powder. This is organic raw maca that we import directly from Peru. I guess I'll put the links on the video when I'm done for all these. There's shilajit, which is a mineral complex from the Himalayan mountains. Contains a lot of trace minerals, and it's also really rich in fulvic acid, which is a detoxification compound. Let me look what else. I just grabbed them all from back here. Maca, chaga, shilajit, chlorella. Yeah, I think that's it. And then I'm going to also add a little bit of, I've got this coconut cream in there, this organic coconut cream. It's a really cool brand too. That's a cooked product, unfortunately, but it's all organic and there's no additives to it. Like, it's not like the standard coconut milk at the store. Ooh, man, it's getting really hot. For those of you that are not too versed with ceremonial cacao, I'll take a second to describe the benefit of this plant. It is, in my opinion, a profound teacher plant, and it can be used in a similar context to the more known and profoundly altering entheogens, such as the mescaline cacti and the mushrooms and different things like that. It can be used in a similar context. However, cacao is really interesting in that it does not really force one into any overwhelming states of consciousness, but rather it can open doors of a similar nature to what those entheogens open. So this is not, it is not a psychedelic. However, I consider it an entheogen because the cacao can help us to access spirit in the same way as the other teacher plants can. The effect of the cacao is particularly potent for the heart and for the third eye. In energetic terms, it's those two chakras. If you want a more straightforward physiological explanation, I like to have a balance of both. I see all things as being parallel and related. So a more psychological and physiological explanation would be that cacao activates feelings of compassion and warmth, which is what's associated with the heart. It's very good for therapeutic conductivity. It helps people to open up and feel comfortable. So you can drink cacao with a loved one and it will be particularly conducive to opening up the door for discussion, and in the right context, I believe it can be used to help people overcome traumas and really open up about things that are very sensitive topics for them. So that's the heart effect. And then the third eye is related to awareness. The third eye does not have to be limited to a mystical idea. It's also as simple as just awareness. So when we're doing an herb that affects the third eye, what it's doing for us is activating the facilities of our awareness. And with cacao, this represents itself in a couple of different ways. First of all, it has a certain stimulating nature, so it is going to increase sensory stimulus. Your vision will become more... is acute the right word? I know visual acuity is a term. Anyhow, your vision becomes more sensitive, your hearing will become more sensitive, and then in a mystical and an energetic sense, one is also more readily capable of processing what I would consider subtle energy stimulus, such as spiritual energies, auras, and things along those lines. So again, heart and third eye is particularly what this is resonant with, but it also just kind of opens up the whole circuit to flow. Cacao is a really great ally, and I definitely suggest anybody work with it if they would like. There is a big difference between the ceremonial cacao and normal cacao. Here, I'll show you. Sorry about that. It's probably really loud. Okay. This is our organic raw cacao powder. This is along the same lines of what you could find in Whole Foods or something, but in my experience, the stuff that we get with Eternity in a box is far higher quality, and I'm not trying to make that as a selling point. I'm just really passionate about cacao, so we've really shopped around to find something that's really fresh and consistently great quality. The reason why I bring this out is to describe that this is what you would refer to as modernized cacao. This is cacao that it has been genetically influenced by human hybridization. So in terms of hybridized cacao, this is great stuff. This is high energy. This can produce some of the same entheogenic effects as the ceremonial cacao, but it's going to be somewhat limited. In my experience, you cannot quite get to the same energetic intensity with hybridized modern cacao as you can with the ceremonial. The ceremonial cacao we get directly from the Guatemalan jungle. It's wild harvested by natives there and prepared in the traditional method. What is so vastly different is the alkaloid content. The alkaloids that are in this, I don't have a full explanation of scientifically what alkaloids are present here that are not in here. Perhaps it is theobromine, more potently active, but I theorize, and some other people I've talked to seem to agree that more likely there are additional alkaloids present in ceremonial cacao that have been bred out. You see, when the Spaniards first came over to Central and South America, long time ago, I'm not really good with history, they saw the Aztec and the Maya using cacao, and they were using the ceremonial cacao, the stuff that has grown and evolved the way that nature intended it. The Spaniards tried it, and they enjoyed it, and I think that they felt a powerful effect from it, but they were, maybe you could say, a little bit more detached from spirit compared to the native. And this is my own bias, but this is my take on it. I think they were a little bit more detached from that sense of spirit. They were a little bit more detached from the power of ritual and the power of ceremony, having already been overtaken by institutional dogma to some degree. So when they experienced cacao, they saw more the potential for this to be a tasty treat, because the way the natives would prepare it, they would add the pepper. I believe cayenne is what they used, but they used spicy peppers to activate the compounds and make them fully usable by the body, like I described. But the native brew was not sweetened, from my understanding. So it was basically, I'm not sure what else. I've heard a couple of different recipes that natives would use. I think some of them had vanilla bean as well. Anyhow, regardless, the native brew was not particularly tasty, so the Spaniards were a little bit turned off from it, but they saw the potential for it to be a great culinary treat. So they took the beans back from Central America, back across the ocean to Europe, and they started breeding them and planting them and selectively breeding throughout a long time, 1,000 years, hundreds of years at least. And what they yielded is this, which is the modernized cacao. Like I said, the genetics are different. The effect is a little bit more stimulating with this. It's a little bit more of like a consistent buzz, like a glow, a raising of your central nervous system, I guess, where the ceremonial cacao, although it also has a certain brightening and uplifting effect, the effect is a lot more fine-tuned into heightening awareness and the sense of compassion, like I said. So Anyhow, I'm all about done here, shaking it up, and when I start to stir it around, I don't really see many chunks left in it, which is good. So this is how you would prepare ceremonial cacao. If you do not have a super high-powered blender, I'm gonna go add my coconut cream to it, and I'll be right back, so don't leave. Alrighty, so now I have got the coconut cream added, and the reason why I did this before adding the superfoods that are raw is to bring the temperature down a little bit more, because we don't want to damage any of the actives in here. And these are going to dissolve pretty readily. It's the ceremonial cacao paste that really required that heat and that vigorous shaking to get it to assimilate into the liquid. So I'm going to open it back up. I'm going to go ahead and add some more incense here, so you guys can keep getting that trippy smoke perspective while watching. I'm gonna have incense in all my videos from now on. I think it's super cool. Oh, the other thing that I forgot to mention is organic raw vanilla bean powder that's in here, and it is mind-blowing how tasty it is. The vanilla with the chocolate, it's a whole nother level. All right, this is gonna be kind of hard to get to add to this. I put it in this to make it look all fancy, but it really isn't very practical, so bear with me for a second. I'm losing a little bit. Not much though. Put my chaga back in there. All right, you can see all the algae stuck to the outside. Got a really green color. Now I'm gonna go ahead and shake it again. Now, if you want it to be sweet, you can go ahead and add some kind of, I would suggest for your health's benefit, some kind of organic sweetener that is of a high quality. Let me grab some more cacao here. I guess you could use sugar if you really wanted to use crazy GMO white sugar. I suppose it would work, but I suggest organic raw coconut nectar, which in my experience is the most easily digested of the sugars. I've got some agave, which, you know, agave is all right, but I'm gonna add some of that more than likely. I'm gonna go ahead and keep shaking and get this to its full, equal, aqueous dissolution. All right, it's looking pretty good. Still pretty hot, but I think I brought the temperature down enough to only have a minimal negative impact of the raw active things in here. And like I said, the ceremonial cacao was already roasted by the natives, so I'm not so worried about heat with that. It's always still good to keep the heat to a minimal though, because heat is going to break down just about any active compound, so. Yes. I think it is very important to treat this plant with respect, just as any teacher, any entheogen plant. So I always take a moment to particularly exert gratitude for the plant. I honor it and look at it as an equal and as a teacher. If you guys have seen my other videos, I exert gratefulness before consuming foods as well, but I think this is particularly important when we're working with something that has a medicinal and a teacher kind of value like this, spiritual medicine, you could say. So, I've got a certain amount of the fishy smell thanks to the Chlorella algae, but not too much. So I think I hit the spot perfectly. For me to get the most healthy ceremonial cacao possible, I try to add as much of the chlorella as I can without it being overwhelmingly fishy. Go ahead and try a drink here. Yes. Hearty, nourishing, mineral rich. And just from one sip, I can already feel an intense vibrational shift. I am particularly sensitive to changes in consciousness, so I'm not trying to suggest that every person from one sip is going to notice it. And I think like any other teacher plant, the more that you get to know it, the more sensitive you are to its effects and its changes. So cacao is one of my really good friends, and I'm particularly sensitive to it. I'll add some more of this dust I've got here. I guess I'm going to go ahead and end this because it's almost 20 minutes and I want this video to be short enough for people to consider watching at some point. Once it is saved on my timeline. I know when they get really long, a lot of people immediately shrug away, and I can't blame them. We're all living busy lives, but I think that there's at least a little bit of value in this because I know a lot of people don't really even know where to go with preparing this, and when I've got my Vitamix, I can have a lot of fun, like I said, and blend all kinds of stuff, add spinach to it and stuff, and get it like nice and green. But a lot of people probably wouldn't think that it is so easy to prepare a full ceremonial cacao beverage just in a jar by shaking it. So I really wanted to share that with you all. I host cacao ceremonies locally, so any of you that are ever in the St. Louis area, I would be more than happy to host a cacao ceremony, or if there are any events that are within my reach, I am happy to travel and do the ceremony there. I've done several of them at festivals and had a lot of good feedback. I've had a number of experiences that I could just feel the power in the room, and it was really, really beautiful. During the ceremonies, we usually do a couple of exercises. I'll do a guided meditation that serves to help open up the heart and open up the visualization facilities. And then we do a speaking exercise where everyone takes turns saying whatever's on their mind, whatever's on their heart, and it really serves to be fairly therapeutic and opening everyone up and allowing everyone an opportunity to really shine with love and compassion. I think sometime soon I'll actually do that meditation in a video, the visualization meditation, because several of the people I've shared it with have encouraged me to record that so that it can be accessed at a later time. I've done it probably over a dozen times now, maybe 20 times, and it seems that I'm getting a little bit more adept at really expressing it in a way that is profound. So yeah, I'll probably share that with you guys sometime in the future. And if anybody's going to be in the St. Louis area, in not this weekend, the one after, there's going to be a cacao ceremony at a local event called Temple, which is a regular, what's the term? It's a little indoor festival that happens on weekends, and it features different artists and music. And I've been doing alchemy workshops there, and then this next temple event, I'm going to be doing a cacao ceremony with my coworker as well. So please come and join us, and let us all embrace with love and good intentions. And on a final note, any of you that are going to work with cacao, please, please, please show the plant respect, and please, please, please use the plant as a catalyst to propel love and compassion so that we can do good things to the world, or with the world, for the world. Do good things to the world, for the world, and with the world. Let's make the world a better place, and let's use these plants in a way to catalyze our full potential of leaving beautiful, rippling footsteps. We are all affecting the world in a profound way all the time. And from my experience working with teacher plants, with the proper resonance and respect while working with the plants, they are very effective at causing profound and drastic change in the footsteps that we leave. And by footsteps, I'm referring to the ripples. We can try our best with intention to interact with the world in a beautiful way. And I try to do that, and I would encourage you to as well. But there are subtleties in the footsteps. There are ways that we are affecting the potentials around us which go beyond our full conscious awareness. Kind of a chaos theory, butterfly effect type things. Me just moving my hands around, I'm changing the air currents around me. And I don't understand the implication of it. However, there is an implication. We're all carving a path through the world, and that path is affecting all the different potentials around us. I feel that to reach our fullest harmonious potential in the world requires our life to resonate with a prayer of sorts. The idea of a prayer being something that's out of our conscious control, but an exertion of love and asking for guidance. our movements through the world can be like a dance of prayer. And I say this not to just make this overwhelmingly philosophical, but in reference to the plants. I really feel that that is part of what the plants want. The teacher plants want us to restore harmony to the world. And one of the profound ways that they are able to work through us to restore harmony in the world is by helping us to be programmed with harmony so that our footsteps can affect the world in beautiful ways, so that we carve the air currents with beautiful potentials, which can be beneficial to our fellows around us. From our perception, the plant is a tool, and it can help us to achieve and to grow. From another perspective, we could be the tool for the plants. We could be a tool ourselves. We could be a vessel for harmony to work through, a vessel for the earth to work through, for the divine to work through. And my best attempt to transcend duality as a whole would just say that everything is in constant interaction with one another. We are both a tool and the user of a tool, and everything just as it is. So the more that we pursue the prayer of harmony and pursue the work of trying our best to influence the world in a good way, the more that we can simultaneously both be the perfect tool for Earth to use to fix this environment, as well as we can find ourselves learning how to properly use the tools before us, such as the sacred plants. I hope that did not get overwhelmingly philosophical, but I felt a flow, and by God, I just couldn't pass up that philosophical flow. I love you all, and I am very grateful for you all watching. I seriously wish you guys an awesome and amazing night, and an awesome and amazing tomorrow, and so on and so forth. Feeling all happy and giddy. Part of that is from the cacao, but part of that is from this consciousness connection that I have with you all. Very grateful for my place in reality, and I hope my place in reality can be more harmonious each day. Much love, my friends.